Right after an hour of messing around with this, I've turned it into a button lock. Yeah, because I didn't want to put that in. That was too much of a pain in the butt. Even just doing this. Really, they don't make drugs strong enough to compensate for trying to do this. I mean, it's really frustrating because you got to do a balancing act between like 4 or 5 different pieces. And if you got that, there is a spring in here for this button lock. I'll put that one in there. But this guy, and I thought I had all my pieces, but this blade on the other side, there is no recoil spring, you know, so I could make one side automatic and the other button lock, or I could just make it a one-bladed knife, which is probably what I'm going to wind up doing. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to have, this is on one side and it's kind of a captive, and then this dinky spring sits in here, and then this guy with this kind of captive piece sits on top of it. That's your plunger mechanism. So if I was going to do that, I have to straighten that screw up. And then you got this little nylon piece, which is fortunately indexed with the inside of here. So when you line it up with this notch, it stays in place. It doesn't rotate around. Then I had to guide it with this, you know, through the pivot. And then these things are magnetized, so anytime you come near a spring that you're trying to place, it grabs a hold of it. So yeah, I'm probably just going to make it a one-bladed button lock knife, put the covers back on it. Well, right now, that's pretty good. All I got to do is just lighten up this pivot here. And it is like a button lock right now. I'm trying to do this one-handed and keep it in focus. See, it'll shake out. Now, don't cut yourself. I've managed to not cut myself so far doing this whole thing. But see, it'll lock. Try my other hand. No blade play, no up and down. Yeah, this is functional. I mean, you could use this. The Cat Weasel is coming back. I don't know if it's going to wind up as a double pokey. Like I said, I might. It took me an hour. It took me an hour of frustration listening to music. Fortunately, I wasn't drinking, or I'd be drunk by now. But yeah, you get something lined up and something else would fall off, and then just trying to figure this out, it's like, God, man, there's a little hole in the blade for one end of that spring to sit there, but really, there's no room. There's no room in there for that. I don't know how they did that. There's no room for that spring to be sitting in there. Unless, well, this is where they, it has to be over the pivot. You know, the spring has to be over the pivot. Kind of like that. Maybe that's how it works. Oh yeah, that is. Look at that. Because then that edge grabs on this lip down here. Huh. Well, like I said, I can only find one spring right now. And I'm not going to mess with that, I don't think. I'm going to make it a one-bladed knife. So it'll come back partially defanged. Anyways, that's as far as I've got. I'll put the covers on and show you what I've got. Oh, I got my knife back together with a few little extra pieces. Yeah, it's no longer an automatic. That button does work. It helps keep the blade in there. But yeah, it's a button lock now. And if you loosen the pivot up enough, you could sling it out, but I don't need that. I'm just going to make it a single-handed knife. It actually feels pretty good in the hand now that you don't have that other piece back here, this little lock piece sticking up. This actually doesn't feel bad in the hand. So it's no longer a double pokey automatic Cat Weasel. It's just a Cat Weasel. It's been defanged a little bit. It's no longer double pokey. And like I showed in the assembly of it, I was missing the spring for the other one. Maybe it's around here somewhere, but I don't have the patience to go look for it. You know, when I disassembled it, I don't know where it went, but I don't need it because, yeah, I can still try to figure this out, you know, because if you look in there, there's really no room in this thing for a spring to be sitting up there. And that nylon washer is in a way to hold it down. I'll just have to look at my video of when I took it apart and see where the actual spring mechanism was sitting. I think it's underneath these covers, but I think it sits underneath that cover. I figured it out after I got it together again, but I mean, man, no, it like I said, it took me an hour of many. I was cussing in Russian. I was cussing in Ruski. If you get it light enough, you can make it like, you know, a button lock if you back off the screw enough. But as it is now, there's no up and down play, and there's no side to side. I mean, if you get out here, you can get a little side to side, but I mean, it's a long blade. It works well. So, and it's still sharp. It's still got that harpoon point to it. And like I said, it feels much better because that little piece back here, really, that thing's sticking up would just get you right in the palm of the hand every time. Every time you grab the knife, you're like, ow, ow. Unless you get all the way up and get past it, and then it's unnatural. Now you can use the whole of the knife. And does this thing still work? Well, the locking thing prevents it from coming open. I had to put that in there as part, because it's like part of the spacing system. If you look in there, that pivot thing, I would have had to have made that up with something, you know, another nylon washer. And these washers were already, I mean, it's what they're going to pivot on, but look at them. They're already like, this one was just like flattened out on one side. So one thing that tells you is this plastic is not real strong if it deforms that easily. And it probably won't last forever, but you know how that goes. You can't expect a lot out of these things. I'm just happy I got it back together again, and it's, you know, at least partially. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day.